All right, who were the winners? Who were the losers? Joining us now is CNN commentator Bakari Sellers. He has endorsed Kamala Harris for president. CNN political commentator Angela Rye, CNN political commentator Andrew Gillum, and CNN political analyst April Ryan, backed by popular demand.
Hey,
your panel was so hot yesterday.
I mean, we tried.
Command performance.
Debauchery.
No, it was mildly debauched. But Angela, you never pull your punches. Who won last night?
Elizabeth Warren.
Amen.
Absolutely no question. Elizabeth Warren was a very strong contender last night. I was pleasantly surprised. She always comes off very wonkish to me, and for good reason. She's brilliant. But last night, she killed it.
Yeah.
She killed it.
I couldn't agree more. I thought she was, I loved the personal narrative as the people she's encountered along the trail. It shows she's listening. She's projecting that back on folks. And I think she's aware, as Angela mentions, of this reputation of being slightly wonky. And she's gone out of her way to be as accessible in the way that she's describing the complexity of these proposals as she possibly can.
Though it was hard for her to spin the yarn in the amount of time she had. She had to stop in the middle of the
which
one
was an issue for a number of people, right? Like they had to, I love CNN. It was tough to get through that from a timing standpoint. But I also got to give honorable mention to Pete Buttigieg. I know you all just had him on, but the brother came ready, prepared to deliver. And I'm going to be probably the only person up here that may say this. I enjoyed Marianne Williamson. I thought
You're not the only one. We're black, Andrew. We live. I'll take 40 acres and 2 mules, Marianne. Very good.
No, I'll take a house in the Potomac and a Maybach.
The math doesn't add up to
The
that.
math doesn't add up, but we're going to calculate kind of, some kind of way.
Any dissenting opinion that Elizabeth Warren won? Go ahead.
Oh.
Yes, Angela. Okay, so I believe, Elizabeth Warren says, I have a plan for this. I have a plan for this. She did have a plan, but she laid back a little bit too much in the beginning. Bernie Sanders came to win. He came out there, and that was his fight, I believe, against Elizabeth Warren. Yes, they were friends, but he dominated. But I did like Elizabeth Warren when she talked about HBCUs. She was very clear about adding money for HBCUs. But my MVP, as we go back to channeling A Course of Miracles.
How you get 2 winners?
I have a win, I have a
three.
win, I have a place, and I have an MVP because I'm April Ryan.
Okay, all right.
What's my name again? My MVP was Marianne Williamson. She came to play. She did not do the girlfriend shtick that we thought she was going to do. She came with issues. She came with answers. She came inspirational and aspirational. And she put on the table General Sherman's
Special Field Order number 15?
Yes, the order number 50, talking that Abraham Lincoln signed off on, but it never was kept. The promise was never kept. 40 acres and a mule. And what is the calculation today, Angela?
I don't know, but her math was off. So for her to say, do the math, and then she still did the wrong math, you had me up until the math.
Marianne Williams, first of all, I think Elizabeth Warren won the debate. I think Bernie Sanders, and everyone who knows me knows that I'm not a big Bernie Sanders fan. Bernie Sanders came last night, and he did extremely well. He made his point. I always think Bernie Sanders runs into the same ceiling, which is race. He did that again last night. I mean, he has trouble answering questions about race. He did that again last night. Marianne Williamson gave the most comprehensive answer on race last night. I don't know a lot about her, so I know that whenever we compliment her on Twitter, people are like, oh my gosh, she did this in 1982, and I'm like, I wasn't even born yet. So like,
don't do that today.
Watch it.
Don't do that today.
I'm telling my inner Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, you definitely are. While you was passing laws, I was in my mama's.
So that is what it was. And so when Marianne was speaking, we have a friend named Latasha Brown who was with Black Voters Matter, and they're doing real work in the communities. And she always comes out and she sings with the only thing we did right was the day we learned to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. And Marianne Williamson, when she was giving that forceful rebuke of the racism we see, gave us that spirit of keeping your eyes on the prize, hold on. The antithesis to that was the economic anxiety answer of Amy Klobuchar. So when we'll get there, you got to be able to challenge that inner keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. And I got that from Marianne.
Hold on just a little while.
Just a little while. And Beto stuck his toe in there. I can't say that he was not there. And he rose to that level on that moment.
She was sermoness without religiosity. I think that's what a lot of people really were compelled by her, is because she said she was very distinguished on that stage by comparison to whoever else, she was standing next to. And I think largely because she has the ability, probably because of her background and past, to cut through to something, your nerve, your heart, your sinew, that allows you to hear
I
her more
love you
clearly.
guys. I have to say one thing.
Yeah.
Marianne Williamson's reparations answer was strong. The rest of her answers were all over the place. And I know y'all said it's because she didn't get enough
didn't get a lot of time.
But you just can't be like, okay, well, let's talk about national security. And she's on education and welfare.
True.
And, I mean, it was like all over the place. I was like,
She's not gonna win.
wanted to give
no, I
you
understand that. I want her to
everything
be
in a moment.
over mindfulness and wellness.
But
for
you know
sure.
what? But she also needs the credibility for being more than just sort of this light and
No,
fluffy
that's
person.
right. That's right. That's right.
But I want to
agree.
go back to Beto real quick. Beto came out talking about voting rights, but he also talked about the issue of reparations. Beto,
Yeah.
he went in the weeds, but people need to know what the weeds look like.
Yeah.
The bottom line is what he is supporting with Sheila Jackson Lee is a bill that calls for a commission to study reparations.
And proposals.
Right,
Because
right.
they added that this year. This used to be Congressman Conyers' bill that
Right.
was introduced every
But
Congress.
this does not offer direct. It does not offer direct payment, or it doesn't even talk about block grants. So right now, you have to be mindful and listen with a critical ear as to what's going on, because this is about a proposal to study and a commission. It's not necessarily giving
But
reparations.
if we call him out on that, we have to call Bernie Sanders out on
Call him out.
once again putting forth Congressman Clyburn's 10-20-30 proposal.
That's right.
That proposal benefits
That was
more
actually Hillary Clinton,
Republican
too.
rural districts than it does black folks. So Bernie Sanders also has to be accountable for
Let
that.
me turn to tonight, if I can.
Okay.
What are you all looking for tonight?
Fight.
Number one. So last night I started calling last night's debate White Night. It was the least diverse of the panels, and I think that tonight we have a debate stage that looks very much like the face of America. I think that there's going to be a whole lot of shade throwing, a whole lot of clapbacks, a lot of records being challenged. I think particularly when you consider Kamala Harris knows last time her performance helped her to rise in the polls, and she slipped in the polls, so she's got to gain some of that momentum back. The rest of the folks, other than, I think actually Julian Castro as well, as the only Latino man running for president, I think also has a really big opportunity to show people who he is and what he stands
So,
for.
you know, I've talked to Julian Castro this week. He's going to do the clapback. You know, he said, you know, I said,
That's a backhand.
I know. I said, are you going to do the clapback? He said,
Great over here.
I'm like, no, that's not a clapback. He says he's going to come strong.
Yeah.
I also spoke with Joe Biden last week at the NAACP, and he really is internalizing this fight with Kamala Harris. And he is like, you know my heart, you know my heart. And I just stood there and listened to him. But he says he's going to come back strong. Now, how strong? He has an albatross around his neck of Anita Hill. He's got to really figure out how to strategically go after a black woman without bringing history back.
They have the Obama, because Joe Biden, I know, thank you. That's what he wants to be called. Joe Biden, since the last debate, they have made a litany of excuses for that performance. They weren't prepared.
He was in
think
shock.
They didn't think it was going to happen. Yesterday, I think the excuse that we heard on this set was that they didn't know how to punch back against a
He
woman.
was in shock
That's
because
fine,
Kamala was his friend, and he said to me, this is what he said
but they
last
running for
week.
president.
Yeah.
But he was in shock
listen,
because that was a friendship, and he
but-
couldn't
But
believe
you
she
can't
did like
expect
that.
for your record not to be challenged in a
but
friendship.
I will say,
hold y'all
I will
accountable.
say that at the beginning of this
You do.
debate, there's going to be a test of every candidate's strength to withstand that rapid pace and dealing in those issues. And I honestly think at the beginning of the debate, and I'll say this again, said it earlier, that Kamala Harris is going to have a lot to prove on healthcare. Her weakest point in this race has been healthcare.
Yeah.
And she's going to have to stand in her answer, own her answer, and not have to clarify her answer on
Well, her
Thursday morning.
prosecutorial record
but
is
I-
also on the line. He says
Yeah,
he's going to
that's-
go in
hold
on that prosecutorial record
I
as
still
well
think,
as
though,
with black men.
Her
Go ahead,
highest,
Brett.
I mean, the biggest, Joe Biden has the most to gain or lose, and I'm not sure gaining is it, rather stopping bleeding. People need to know that he is to the task, that if he's challenged on his record, this whole, she's my friend, and I didn't expect it to come. You're running for president of these
right.
United States of America.
Yeah.
And by the way, whoever the Democratic nominee is will be up against Donald Trump. He's nobody's friend, and you
At
could
all.
imagine he won't pull any punches.
He goes
And so
in.
it's my hope, and I'm not a declare for anybody, but I want this for him to be his best, most optimal self tonight. Otherwise, I think people start to defect because they're going to see a chink in the armor.
All right, friends, I just have to say, I think you've guaranteed another appearance on our show tomorrow morning.
You need to
Thanks,
bring us that
Don.
all
Be careful
the
of
time.
what you wish for.
Yeah.
We want this.
You'll be here at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I don't want to find out
Here with grasshoppers
No,
drinking coffee.
Thank you guys very much.